Chris, actually, credit monitoring is actually one of the most important tools, not only for the aspects of repairing your credit, but for other aspects of you maintaining a healthy credit score. So let me explain to you a little bit about credit monitoring. Credit monitoring is actually a tool to gauge not only progress, but also to kind of catch anything that's coming in that's going to hinder your credit scores back. So credit monitoring providers, they have a lot of upside in a sense that, first off, they're not going to reduce your credit scores because they're actually considered soft pools, meaning that they're not going to impact you in any negative way. They're also going to have detailed information in there with regards to what's actually being reported on your credit report. Usually they give you a credit report every 30 days with credit scores. So having credit monitoring is just a tool to gauge progress. Absolutely. And even though that obviously we would like to give you a guarantee under rules and regulations, which is exactly what we go by, the CROA, which is the Credit Repair Organization Act, states that I cannot guarantee or promise any results. Now, I'm going to tell you this much, Chris. Based on the evaluation that I just gave you, based on the statistics on past clients similar to your situation, I'm confident that we're going to be able to help you. Why? Because the length of time is really what dictates progress, or what dictates the possibility of an account actually being deleted. You see, the longer the length of time that has passed, the higher the probability, because through time, things happen. Systems get integrated, companies merge, companies dissolve, companies go out of business, information gets lost. And what happens is, under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which states that everything has to be verifiable, accurate, and complete, what actually determines the possibility or the probability of success is the length of time. Based on the evaluation that I just did for you and looking at your credit report, most of the information that you have, it's over 6 months old, meaning that the success rate that we're currently having right now, it's almost at a 78%, meaning that out of 10 negative items, we are deleting and correcting 7.8 of those accounts. So in your particular case, I feel confident that we're going to be able to help you. I completely understand, Chris. And again, I'm just really just trying to earn your respect here in your business. When we do an evaluation, part of the process, obviously through the first phase, which is the restoring and helping you using rules and regulations to delete negative information. We also have the second phase, which is helping you to rebuild new lines. Through the process of us actually helping clients, helping over tens of thousands of clients, we've done a lot of study. And depending on where your credit scores are at, the last thing that I want is for you to cause yourself to get another inquiry and not to be approved. Through the traditional lending aspect of it, like Bank of America, which offers a secured card, Wells Fargo offers a secured card, you still have the possibility of being declined based on what you have on your credit report. So what I'm actually telling you right now is I'm not trying to guess. If your credit scores are below a 580, I'm going to highly encourage for you to go through the Open Sky product, which is actually a bank here in Miami called Capital Bank. And they offer this product that's 99% proof that you're going to go ahead and get approved. So at the end, this will help you. And you're obviously not guessing. Once your scores have gradually increased, then we could look into those additional products. So for now, I would highly encourage for you to go ahead and follow my lead on this. Absolutely. Well, Chris, based on the rules and regulations, one of them in particular, which is actually called the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it states that everything in somebody's credit has to be verifiable, accurate, and complete. And if it's not, it has to be deleted or it has to be corrected. So in a sense, there's a total of 9 different rules and regulations and acts that we actually go by. And what we've done is that we've depicted certain things in there that could give us the highest probability of success when disputing and challenging the information. Absolutely. Well, based on the evaluation that I just went ahead and completed, based on the amount of negative items you have, given the fact that you have a total of 10 negative accounts, you obviously don't have any open or active credit cards, which we're obviously going to go ahead and help you to establish. At the success rate that we have right now, which is running over a 78%, because most of your negative accounts are over 6 months old since the date that you went onto the report, I could tell you right now that we are looking at an increase approximately by establishing a new account, which could give us anywhere from 45 to 55 points. If you follow my lead on the credit card that we need to establish, and obviously that's based on your credit scores. And let's say we run at a 50%, forget about the 78, I'm going to lowball it. If out of those 10 items in the next 60 to 90 days, if I'm able to delete and correct 4 or 5 of them, we could be looking at another additional 45 to 55. The combination of two could give us approximately 100 points. If at the rate that you're in right now, which is at a 550 credit score, if another 100 points could get you to the 650s, and you told me that all you needed was to go ahead and purchase that property was a 640 credit score for the FHA, right? So getting you to a 650 will get you to that goal. There's a lot of variations, and we've done a lot of research, we've done a lot of homework. I do know how Lexington Law works, given the fact that I was a customer of theirs, a client of theirs, and I also was a client of creditrepair.com, Sky Blue Credit, and what I've done is that I've done a lot of homework, right? And what actually differentiates us from our competitors is the ability to go above and beyond. Such as when disputing, first off, if we're going to go ahead and challenge all your negative accounts, we're going to do them all at the same time. So, and for instance, some of the creditors, some of the credit repair companies that I mentioned will only select a different agency or select different accounts based on what they're actually looking for. What we do is that we do everything at once, because doing everything at once yields the highest probability of success. If it's needed or necessary for us to go ahead and challenge or send out a dispute with the creditors, we also do that as part of our process to go ahead and create even more pressure for the bureaus to perform. If it's also necessary, we'll escalate that to the CFPB, which is a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which also enforces the agencies to perform. More pressure. And we've also escalated things to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. Another thing that actually differentiates us from our competitors is the fact of the follow-up. We've actually implemented different follow-ups throughout the process or the program. This way, you're always engaged. You could always go ahead and log in into your online portal, and you could always know exactly what's happening. I completely understand, Chris. Let me ask you a question. Obviously, you want to go ahead and think about it. Usually when somebody tells me they want to go ahead and think about it, it's usually somebody maybe that something wasn't clear regarding the evaluation that I just went ahead and covered, or maybe they're not confident that we're going to be able to help you. Is this more or less how you feel? Okay, so maybe I didn't do a good job at explaining the program, so let me go ahead and reiterate back into it. If, in this particular case, after looking at the negative accounts, remember I told you that the accounts that you have are kind of old, over 2 to 3 years, so the probability of success of this information being deleted in the first couple of rounds, it's a high probability. By the way, Chris, you also don't have any credit cards that have been established, so with that said, just establishing one line could yield anywhere from 45 to 55 points. The combination of disputing the negative accounts and adding a new line could help you to increase your scores by 95 to 100 points in the next 60 to 90 days. What exactly about that you feel that obviously you're not going to take advantage of that? Excellent question. Well, our fees are based on how much work we're obviously going to go ahead and do for you and how many negative items you have. So in this particular case, if you allow me to do the evaluation, I would love to give you accurate numbers and numbers that I know that I can stand behind. Without looking at your credit report, I'm not going to give you something precise, which in this particular case, I don't think you'll appreciate that. Let's get started with the evaluation. Absolutely, Chris. Well, just so that you could go ahead and feel comfortable and confident, we do have FCRA and FICO advisors. We're also PCI compliance, and these are actually, there's rules and regulations that govern the credit repair industry. And we have to be in certain compliance, right? We have the registration, we have all the legal documentation, we have a service agreement, which has obviously been reviewed and analyzed by our attorney as well. And with that said, the process of repairing your credit, it is legitimate, just given the fact that what we're doing is using rules and regulations that have been applied for us and to use to make sure that the agencies are compliant and everything that they have in their systems is accurate and verifiable. Absolutely, Chris. Well, I'm going to tell you this much. You can do this yourself. But it's what I always tell, my friends or my clients. Do I know how to cut my own hair? I've done it before when I was younger. Do I know how to cut my own grass? Yes, I do as well. But why don't I do it? Because first off, people come for us for two reasons. First off, because either they don't have the time or they don't have the experience. You see, you can do this yourself. But how much practice or how much experience do you have doing credit repair? Right? You have to think about that. Another thing too, how tedious the process is. Do you have time to go ahead and dedicate to this process? So if you want something done right, you know what I do, Chris? I contact the professionals and I get it done the right way the first time. Okay, well, Chris, actually the program has been designed to get you to your goals as fast as possible. So actually, the length of the program is contingent to your goals. What are you looking to achieve? And is what I tell my clients. This is something that we're both going to have to work together. This is a partnership. You do your part and we do our part, and together is how we get to your goals fast. Meaning, depending on how many negative items you have, and if you allow us to work with you at the success rate that we have right now, we are yielding anywhere at a 78% success, meaning that out of 10 items, we are deleting and correcting 7.8 of those in the first 60 to 90 days, which is way above the national average. And just given the fact that you don't have any open and established credit cards, the combination of the two could give us a high credit score increase. So the program or the length of time is contingent to your goals. If you're looking to go ahead and achieve a 650 credit score, and if we get there in the first 3 to 4 rounds of disputes, maybe 4 to 5 months, then that's where the program ends. If you're looking for a higher credit score, it could be anywhere from about 5 to about 6 rounds, which could be anywhere from 5 to 7 months, which nevertheless is fast. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the annualcreditreport.com website, it actually states that that's the one legitimate actually site to be able to retrieve a copy of your credit report once a year at no charge. As a matter of fact, they provide you the 3 credit reports. Just know that it will not come with a credit score though. So if this is something that you have not done in the last 12 months, you could literally log into annualcreditreport.com and you can retrieve a copy of your report and it'll have all the information that you need. Absolutely. So the CROA, it's an enforcer, or it's an act basically passed to regulate how credit repair companies operate or work. So what happens is we have a certain fee, which is an enrollment fee, and we have a monthly service fee. Actually, what that actually constitutes when it talks about work is actually the letters that are created, the dispute letters. So the first initial fee that we have is not for credit repair services. It's basically an audit. It's a setup. It's just to get everything in order and everything done with regards to collecting your documents, which obviously pays for the evaluation, even though the evaluation is free if you would have not taken the next steps. But since you are, that also pays and compensates me for obviously spending this time with you. It also goes ahead and we have to go ahead through a process, which is basically going through our quality control department. They make sure that all the documentation that has been gathered is accurate. We have to have a service agreement that has to be signed and sent back over to us. Besides that, it's also going to go into our processing department, which is a second verification department to make sure that all the documents are accurate. Besides that, it would also, they'll input information into your platform, which is basically an online portal where we're going to use in order for us to go ahead and do the disputes and give you updates. Once all that's created, plus your dispute letters are sent out, 30 days later, after the first enrollment date fee, which is the enrollment fee, is when you'll have your first credit repair fee in this particular case, which because obviously the letters have already been created. So the enrollment fee is basically just to cover the setup. Absolutely. Chris, and that's one thing, to be quite frank with you, there's only two guarantees in life, right? One of them is that we're going to die one day. And second off, we're always going to have to pay taxes. We got to pay Uncle Sam. So in reality, there is no guarantees or any promises that we could give anybody. I am going to promise and guarantee to do the best work that I can for you and to give you the most accurate information possible. But based on the evaluation that we just completed right now, based on the length of time that has passed that your negative information came onto the report, you're yielding a high probability of success that we're going to be able to get those items deleted. Besides the fact that you have not established any new lines. That alone itself could help you to increase your scores by 45 to 55 points easy. Now, also an additional thing too, which obviously is part of our education, I mentioned to you, by adding yourself as an authorized user to someone with a credit card with a high limit, zero balance, and possibly if they've had it for a few years with no negative history, could give you another opportunity of increasing your scores by 45 to 55 points. See, so by doing all the steps, which is part of our three-phase process, working together with us is how we're going to get to your goals fast. I completely understand, Chris. And you know what? I really don't like going ahead and moving forward or making any kind of, sudden decisions without consulting, obviously, with my better half, which is obviously my wife. But let me ask you a question. What part of the program don't you feel comfortable? Because I'll be honest with you. If I went home and I had an issue right now or a problem and I just found a solution and I presented that to my wife's literally going to say, why didn't you take that opportunity? Because I'm just showing you right now, when somebody tells me that, also it indicates that they're not confident in what we just discussed. So looking at the amount of negative items that you have, and obviously the length of time that has passed, given the fact that you don't have any established or open lines, we went over and we created a plan on how to add you as an authorized user to some of your wife's credit cards. Plus, we're going to go over a debt elimination strategy to reduce the balances on your credit card. The combination of all that together is going to give you the scores needed for you to move forward on the purchase of your home. Let me ask you a question. Would your wife be opposed to that? I completely understand that you would want something over in writing. But I'm going to be frank with you, Chris. Sending you something in writing will not justify the information that we just went ahead and covered. There's a lot more information that you and I just went over that brochure is not going to do justice. So nevertheless, when somebody requests a brochure, it's because they're really telling me they're not confident or sure about taking the next steps, right? So let's go ahead and do something. Let me go ahead and reiterate a few things. And as a matter of fact, we also have social media platforms where you could go ahead and log into to also satisfy whatever questions you have.
What kind of accounts can you work with?
Absolutely, Chris. So what happens is under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is the act that governs credit, it states that everything in your credit could be disputable. That includes from personal information such as your name, your date of birth, your addresses, all that preliminary stuff, to any public record information reporting on your credit, and every single account including collections, charge-off, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repos. Nothing is out of the grasp of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. If it's on your credit report, it's disputable, and you could actually challenge that information using the 609 rule. Excellent.